Peace and harmony here with you here today. Signs you're not being respected. One thing I find in common with survivors of child abuse, narcissistic abuse, psychopathic abuse, which can involve physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, spiritual abuse, sexual abuse, is that they oftentimes don't know that they're being disrespected. Or they're so used to being disrespected that they don't know how to draw the boundaries. They don't know how to stand up for themselves. They don't know how to assert their needs. They don't know how to be kind of assertive in a manner which is really prompted by good, clear communication and in an emotional standpoint that is a little bit more conducive and receptive to being heard and acknowledged. And this really comes because they don't have maybe the foundation or experience of being acknowledged, of being listened to, of being considered in their input. Perhaps, this started maybe in their family or in their neighborhood where they grew up. We find all sorts of different situations where the young child just did not have their needs met, or their needs were not acknowledged. There wasn't enough money. The parents had to work or were never present, or the siblings beat them up. For whatever reason, they just never were a claim to their own personhood. And they weren't allowed to blossom. They weren't allowed to shine. They never really felt acknowledged. In fact, very much to the contrary, we find that they were mirrored something more negative, which is really what I would call inaccurate mirroring, or what I would also call, which called in the psychology community, which is called negative validation, or I would say it's really mirroring back lies. And that's part of the crazy making that we see with the narcissistic personality syndrome and the psychopathic syndrome, which is the crazy making, which is refuting, really just, creating lies, troublemaking. I mean, there's all sorts of easy terms for it, but what does it really look like? When somebody actually doubts what you've said, or doubts that something happened, and you know it with your own eyes that something happened, you know this to be a fact, and then they just want to discredit you right away. That is actually showing a lack of respect, and because it's not acknowledging you. And one important key aspect of showing respect is acknowledging someone for who they are and giving them a personal space and a personal voice. So when it comes to that, I find that those who have entered into these narcissistic relationships really unconsciously did not have that validation from their partner. So in other words, it was just never there. I mean, they were a companion to them, but they never really commanded the respect that they deserved, or they didn't know how to ask for it, or they didn't feel that they deserved it, which is oftentimes the underlying issue. So in this channel here, Peace and Harmony, I hope to help clear that channel for you, and have you realize that original feeling, which was maybe unconscious, and again, sorry if this is a lot of psychology terms, but I think it's really important when you're dealing with people. You have to learn behaviors, you have to learn some behavior concepts. So forgive me if it's kind of scientific, or what am I going to say, not sophomoric, but educational terminology, but I trust that this will really benefit you as we continue to work on this and discuss this with you. But that, and looking back, because you want to understand this so you don't keep repeating this, this cycle and this pattern in your relationships. Because what's going to happen if you don't resolve it, if you don't work on it, you're not going to fix and repair it, and you're going to probably maybe see these situations come up again and again, and you're going to be like, what is going on? Why do I keep attracting these types of people? Like, what is wrong with me? What role do I have to do in this? And a lot of people, they don't know. They're wondering, what role do I actually have in this? And to shed some light, you have to really ask, some of these deeper questions, and you have to really begin to identify, some responsibility and self-protection. So it's, if you weren't taught that, or you were, you know, abused as a child, perhaps it's a whole new skill for you, which, you know, is kind of an esoteric skill. You know, sometimes you know, they don't really teach it in college, they don't really teach it in school. If your family didn't teach you self-respect, you know, where are you going to pick this stuff up? I mean, it's kind of esoteric, hidden knowledge, and you have to learn to identify really what it is, so you know how to get it for yourself. And, you know, then if you, it's all going to essentially begin with self-respect, and that comes with acknowledging that you are worthy, you are a good person. It's not this what was mirrored to you from this narcissist, this psychopath. You know, if it's a group of friends that are all kind of in that same culture, it's not healthy for you. It's not right, and you do not, absolutely positively, do not need to live a lie and stay around with these people. I mean, they are not the only people in the world. And so what I want to explain to you is that this narcissist is just one person in a whole wonderful world. I mean, I know that this person is important to you, but they are not the only person who can be friends with you. They are not the only person who can be a mentor to you, or they are not the only person who you can do things with. So what I'm explaining here is that you need to get into that core understanding of deserving, and realize that you deserve better treatment. And again, you're going to begin to raise your standards. So I find that very important and very interesting concept. You know, that a lot of girls who have suffered through abusive relationships, they have lowered their standards for themselves so low. And, you know, if you lower your standards, you're going to have low standards for yourself, and you're not going to receive the people and the treatment that you very much deserve. And until you start to really work on this and clarify this and start to get a sense of this, and this concept takes time. And I would say in my studies and in my life experience, working consistently at it and committing to the path through various other tools in my work and studies and discussion with people, you know, it has taken me quite some time. I mean, I would say at least, you know, 3 to 4 years to really grasp and understand this concept, and realize that I do not only need to give, I actually need to be able to receive. So if you find that you're constantly the one who's giving to the guy, or you're constantly the one who's, you know, supporting of this person in whatever way that they want you to be, you know, always laughing at their jokes, or always going to their shows, or always doing what they want to do, and they just want to keep you around because, you know, they're the leader, so to speak. You're a leader. You have a voice. You're funny. You're fun to be with. You know, start realizing that you deserve better treatment and raise your standards, because if you raise your standards, then you're going to start to build up that self-respect, and you're going to realize that you have boundaries, which means you're not going to accept certain treatment, and you're going to be able to acknowledge this. And I think it's a good idea to do it in a peaceful manner, which means, you know, not confronting people, but really coming from a more positive place rather than a fearful place. And when you can do that, your relationships are going to take on a whole new feeling and a whole new meaning. So this is just one video in really a series and kind of a long exploration I hope to do here with you. And I wanted you to think about that issue of self-respect and deserving of respect, which is when somebody acknowledges you, your feelings, pays attention to you, can listen, can hear you out. It's just there to, you know, be not necessarily saying, oh, that's good or that's bad or that's right or that's wrong, but someone who can listen to you and acknowledge you and can process actually what you say. That's a sign of respect. And a sign of disrespect is the opposite, when they won't listen to you, when they'll slam doors, when they'll you know, text you one way incessantly, ignore you. You know, those are some clear-cut things. So I want you to identify these situations and begin to raise your standards, so life will begin to deliver to you on a raised standard level. So more about this in future videos. I hope this helps. Please share, subscribe for more great tools, videos, and discussions. Peace out. Have a beautiful day.